your balance here. Okay, good luck. out!
You